so that they can prey upon you.
I'm going to exercise my right as moderator here to expound upon that a little bit. For each of the gentlemen, ask for another 30 seconds. We're electing one of you to enforce the laws we have on the books, but is there a law pertaining to the same question that you would like to see changed to make it easier for you to go ahead and enforce in return to helping the consumer? Mr. Owens, I'll begin with you.
Certainly. When we talk about consumer protection and the people of Ohio and their ability to protect themselves, and I think especially as our economy continues to sink, as we have issues of recession and perhaps depression, we are going to see higher instances of crime, and it is critical that we must allow the citizens of Ohio to protect themselves. And along those lines, I am an open advocate of adopting more of an Alaska or Vermont-style concealed carry law, so that people can actually protect themselves, protect their properties, protect their loved ones.
Same thing, Mr. Crites. Is there a law you'd like to see changed?
There's a law I'd like to see added, and I think changed as well, and then we just referred to it. It has to deal with the credit card marketing to college students on college campuses. I think that, as Rich has indicated, that that's a very vulnerable group. They're away from home for the very first time. I think we need to have a law that's in place that really does deter those people, marketing people, from engaging in fraudulent activities with respect to them. And I can tell you that as Attorney General, I think one of the roles that we have is also that of an advocate, and I would not be reluctant to go to the General Assembly to advocate in favor of that at the appropriate time. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Cordray.
I actually think that effective enforcement of the consumer laws is most important, and the granddaddy of the consumer issues right now is what's happened with the mess made on Wall Street. We have the wreckage of it in the mortgage lending industry here, probably over 90,000 foreclosures going to be filed this year, a record. We need to continue to go after the people who did bogus appraisals, who lied and cheated customers in the mortgage marketplace, and with the companies on Wall Street that have hidden things that were on their books, that have misled investors about things that were same as cash when they weren't. We need somebody who will stand up to them, who will understand the financial industry, and who will make sure that Ohioans are made good as much as we can out of this mess.
Thank you. Next question from the audience, please.
To all the candidates, we certainly like the notion of aggressive law enforcement from an Attorney General, and yet there is a role for prosecutorial discretion or some exercise of restraint as the power of the state is brought to bear. And I have bumped into an instance where I learned quite a bit about the absence of a statute of limitations on certain claims that the state can bring, especially for certain taxes which are asserted to have been not paid 10, 15, sometimes even 20 years ago, when records are often long gone. Do you have, and special counsel is typically used in my experience to try to find people and bring the power of the state to bear in a way which can be intimidating. Do any of you have some concerns about this you'd like to voice as to how a new Attorney General might look at the practices that the state uses to enforce asserted old obligations, to do so in a way which makes the people who are the object of those efforts feel they're fairly dealt with?
Thank you, sir. A complicated question. Democratic candidate Richard Cordray will go first.
I think what we want is tough but fair. When I was a county treasurer, we were aggressive about collecting delinquent taxes that were unpaid, that were necessary, that had shortchanged our schools and social services, but we treated people fairly and with respect. We understand that there are times when people have difficulty paying bills, and we understand that there are other times where they simply have not wanted to pay those bills. There is a Fair Debt Collection Practices Act that needs to be observed. People need to be treated with respect, but with persistence. I think that's the balance that we're looking for. Both the prosecutorial discretion of the office and the civil enforcement discretion of the office are powerful tools. And I have said that we should not file a lawsuit as Attorney General without giving fair warning to the target, give them an opportunity to come in and explain their position, see if common ground can be reached before ambushing people with litigation. I think that's only fair for the Attorney General. We did that when I was in the Attorney General's office under Lee Fisher. We will do it again.
1 minute, independent candidate Robert Owens.
You have to look for win-win solutions for issues like this. Obviously, we have a duty as public officials to collect taxes that are owed, but yet if we go after people in a vicious, difficult way, it ends up not resulting with money to the government and hurting and breaking people's lives. Now, the representatives of the political parties love to collect taxes. They get big kudos from their political parties, and in fact, the representative of the Democratic Party is truly a star at collecting taxes. He is perhaps the most aggressive tax man in the history of Franklin County, which is great for the political parties. However, the people need a representative that will truly be compassionate in their view on this point, and I will make sure that we are not putting people through the ringer mill to collect the last dime, when we can work with them instead so they can maintain their jobs, maintain their employment, and still pay off taxes to the state of Ohio.
Thank you. Republican candidate Michael Crites.
It's been my experience as the United States Attorney, where we collected, I believe, over $175 million in my time when I was the United States Attorney, that most people want to go ahead and pay their taxes, their back taxes. And I think you approach it from the standpoint that you have an obligation as the public official, whether it be the Attorney General or the United States Attorney, to go ahead and enforce the laws. However, I think the response has to be measured. Whether it's an individual or whether it's a business, I think you work with those people. The absolute last thing you do is pull the trigger and file a lawsuit. My experience has been that most people do want to cooperate, they do want to be in compliance, and maybe it requires education, maybe it requires mediation, discussion, whatever it takes. I think you make every effort to go ahead and collect whatever debt, whatever obligation is owed to the state of Ohio that way. You treat them with respect. If you have a recalcitrant individual or business, all right, which I find usually to be in the distinct minority, then you go ahead and file the lawsuit. But I think that's the absolute last thing that you do. We don't beat people over the heads with litigation in this state if I'm the Attorney General.
Thank you. Next question, please.
This job is often known as the people's attorney. During your campaign, what have you learned about the people of Ohio that will help you with this job?
Richard Cordray.
You know, I learn a great deal from campaigns. I've been in a few of them. What you find when you go out and you have your eyes and ears open is you learn what's on people's minds, you see what their concerns are, and out of that experience you learn what kinds of things you can do in your position to help address the real-life problems people face. That's what led me to the foreclosure problem as state treasurer. It's what will lead me to consumer protection as the Attorney General. People right now around the state are hurting. They have great economic anxiety. They are angry about what they see as unfair treatment of Wall Street, whereas very little is being done to help them with their financial problems. Those are lessons I will take back to the Attorney General's office. And in that office, I will work every day to be on the side of Ohioans, Ohio families, Ohio communities. And I will take the experiences I've had being in Northwest, Southeast, Northeast, Southwest Ohio, and take those lessons, thinking those are the people that I represent. Not the state boards, not the state agencies, not the state commissions, but the public in this state who are just trying to make it, just trying to do the right thing, and need somebody to stand on their side. And if the Attorney General doesn't do it, nobody will do it. I will be that Attorney General.
Thank you. Michael Crites.
When I ran for office some time ago, I had a chance to talk to Jim Rhodes before he passed away, and he once said that, you know, if you ever have the opportunity to run for statewide office, do it, because you'll never look at Ohio the same way. Well, I can tell you that in the 13 months that 13 weeks we've been campaigning, I'll never look at Ohioans the same way. Yeah. I wish it was 13 months, okay. Do I get additional time for that? Okay. I think it's very important. I've learned that Ohioans are fed up with what they perceive to be an endless parade of political corruption and political incompetence in this state. And one only has to go so far as about 5 or 6 weeks ago when search warrants were executed by 200 federal agents, I understand, here in Cuyahoga County on a couple commissioner and an auditor's office and maybe some other places. But I got to tell you what, 21 years as a prosecutor in the federal system for a number of years, the only time I ever saw 200 agents together was at a going-away party. So, I mean, that tells me there's a significant issue. The people want it addressed. I've gone ahead and submitted and proposed a public corruption commission that would help address that. I also would aggressively move against the Wall Street mess because I think, as Rich has indicated, that's going to be an issue that has a lot of fallout for citizens of Ohio over the next few years.
And Mr. Owens.
The people that actually still have jobs left here in Ohio are overworked and overtaxed. They love liberty, they love freedom, and they want government off their back and out of their lives. And that is a theme that has been repeated to me over and again. Now, in this process, we've had questions come up as to whether or not, as Attorney General, we would enforce any law on the books, no matter how onerous it was to the people of Ohio. Now, amazingly, the representative of the Republican Party has indicated he'll enforce any law on the books.